Welcome to Seneca Spotlight, where we shine a light on the businesses and entrepreneurs who call Seneca County home. I'm Aaron Montz, the host of Seneca Spotlight and president and CEO of the Tiffin-Seneca Economic Partnership. After serving as mayor for nearly 11 years, I understand how important our locally owned businesses are to our community's success and our continued growth. Each episode will explore the stories behind our local businesses, how they got started, the challenges they've faced, and the triumphs they have celebrated. Whether you're a local resident or an entrepreneur, there's something in here for you. We'll be featuring a variety of businesses, from our TSEP members to other locally owned and managed gems. We'll even be discussing potential job opportunities. Our conversational interviews will allow you to get to know these business owners and their stories. And as a proud resident, I can't wait to share with all of you everything we have to offer here in Seneca County. Join us on this journey and stay tuned for Seneca Spotlight. We'll have new episodes on the second and fourth weeks of each month. Let's celebrate our local businesses together. Welcome to Seneca Spotlight. In episode 1, we'll be interviewing Jake Schaaf from Buckeye IT. We hope you enjoy today's show. Jake, thanks for joining us today. Jake Schaaf from Buckeye IT is our guest today on Seneca Spotlight. And Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Aaron. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and glad to be part of this new series for you.
Yeah, we're glad. You're kind of our guinea pig. So
Yes.
This is the first episode that we are having yet, and it's pretty exciting to have you here. You've been our IT person here at TSEP for, I think, now a little over a year.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yep. Done a very good job. So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So you own Buckeye IT.
Yes.
Tell us, when did you start the business?
I started Buckeye IT back in 2004. I went out on my own, basically, had a stable job, W-2, the whole 9 yards, and got the hankering to do things on my own. Had a couple of school districts that said, Jake, we want some time from you. And so I made the move. I quit my full-time job, started on my own, working for a couple of K-12 school districts doing IT, and it just kind of blossomed from there. The first few years, it was me by myself doing everything, and the business just kind of grew from there. I was lucky enough to have a good relationship with Judge Kelbley and Judge Schaaf and some of the other people in the county, and started picking up more business, and it's been growing ever since then.
Yeah, you've really grown the business. So you started with just you, correct?
Yeah. The first 5 years, probably 4 or 5 years, it was just me by myself. So 70 and 80-hour work weeks,
Oh, my goodness.
Doing that kind of stuff like that. Once we had kids, kids would go to bed, and I'd go back to work for a couple hours doing stuff. And but it's paid off here in the end. I think.
Yeah. So how large is the company now?
We're at 11 people right now.
Wow.
So yeah, myself, and there's I've got a sales guy. We've got people in support, and then several technicians and engineers that do stuff for the county and other places 24/7.
Yeah, that's substantial growth. To go from one person to 11 in a 20-year period with your business, and
Yeah.
IT work is one of those things that I think is never going to go away. We all know the IT sector. Well, we just saw it last week with with all the issues with Microsoft and CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike, yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's we're becoming more and more dependent on technology. More and more places are implementing it, appreciating it, and using it to kind of, I guess, fuel their own growth. So yeah, it keeps people like me and my team in business, gainfully employed.
Yeah.
No hair, but gainfully employed. So
Yeah. Well, the IT folks, they're the ones that you kind of hope to never see, because obviously there's usually a problem when you're calling IT.
Yeah.
So what kind of solutions do you offer? Are you just government? Do you do private businesses as well in the community?
No, yeah, we've got a wide range of partners, as we call them. They're not just clients to us, but yes, it's a lot of government, law enforcement, but financial stuff, credit unions, small banks, CPAs, vision and medical practices and stuff like that. That we handle quite a few types of businesses.
So IT world is ever changing. We're all connected now. Our cell phones, laptops. You can't go anywhere without having IT in your life.
Oh, yeah.
And people like you are what make a lot of our businesses and local governments function here.
Yeah.
You're the kind of the guys behind the curtain there at Buckeye.
Yeah. And that's part of what we do, you know. I mean, it's that support, and some people think IT is just when something breaks or only when they see us come walking in the office to fix the printer, but the team does a lot of outside of the vision, I guess, so to speak, work. You know, we're monitoring the servers, we're doing updates, we're doing patches, security monitoring. So really for most of our partners, the users that are partners, they really probably only see 15 or 20% of what we do. A lot of it is that behind the scenes kind of stuff, because those critical backups that we're doing our team checks on those backups every single day. So if there's errors or problems, we're fixing those. Well, the end users aren't going to see a ticket that, hey, we got in and fixed a problem with their backup last night, you know, and they're not going to see those tickets that we have internally that says, oh, hey, Aaron's computer was overusing the processor for so long, and what do we do to fix that? They don't see that kind of stuff.
So your team's around the clock just monitoring all of these things to know, like you said, that problems that crop up and they may be fixed without the staff ever realizing that there was a problem that you and your team had to fix.
Yeah. There's a lot of that back end stuff they don't see. And then, you know, we've got the security teams that are monitoring all the, you know, the endpoint devices and the networks and stuff like that. That's 24/7 with human monitoring, human response. You know, it's not just all automated stuff. It's eyeballs on an alert to say, oh yes, this is a malicious file, or oh hey, no, this is kind of a false positive, and then nobody has to worry about it. So we've got good integration with those teams too, then to really take care of those clients, because a lot of our partners have compliance requirements now. You know, it's not just the law enforcement people that have CJIS, it's your financial places. You know, there's a lot of requirements that they have to maintain compliance. So we're generating those reports, helping them with those audits, helping them with those questionnaires. And there's a lot of work that the guys put into getting those reports ready to be able to sit down at the table to get that taken care of for them.
Oh, I'm sure. I know during my tenure when I was mayor here in Tiffin for a little over 10 years, one of the things that kept us up at night was ever like a ransomware attack. That would just shut things down. Or that, you know, was holding our financial data, because, you know, you need that to run the city. It's a little different if you're a much larger city like Columbus or Washington, D.C. or Chicago with excess funds available. A small community like Tiffin, if the treasury or social security numbers or anything gets basically shut down and exposed, it could end local city government overnight, essentially. So people like you are kind of the warriors that are out there in the dark trying to keep all of the data and everything safe.
Yeah, and that's, you know, our goal being part of small town is, you know, knock on wood, keep Tiffin, Seneca County, and our other partners out of the news, right? Like, I mean, it's devastating to see that kind of stuff when it happens to the city of Cleveland, you know, when it happens to local counties and stuff like that. You know, some people may just kind of think, oh, hey, yeah, well, good luck. Well, us IT people, it's kind of a brotherhood. It's like, well, I got time or I got people, let's reach out. Hey, do you guys need some extra help? Hey, we can do this. And we try to look out for each other. And if nothing else, you know, we're taking in extra Tums and praying for them, because it's heartache to watch even those other guys go through that stuff. And it is scary stuff, knowing how easy it is for the threat actors to get in and take care of things. You know, I mean, they get in and get some social security numbers. They get even as simple as getting somebody to switch their direct deposit information. You know, that's been a common thing we've seen around here a lot, is the bad guys trying to make that happen. And it's heartache for those employees when it does, because now they're missing one or two paychecks. Everybody gets it squared away, but when so many people are, you know, short on the bank account and you miss a deposit, it kind of messes up your ability to pay your bills.
Yeah, with everyone with our busy lives, a lot of folks don't log in daily, weekly, maybe monthly, and check their accounts. And it would be very simple, like you said, for a malicious person to get in there, change banking information, and you may miss 2, 3, 4 paychecks. And with times being tighter, inflation, whatnot, it could upend somebody's entire life.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
thankfully we have people out there like you
Yeah.
looking to really protect us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of changing gears a little bit. So you opened your new office location. Has that been a full year now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's been about a year for that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that. You I know opened up and you've got kind of a shared workspace that you were working on. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the office site?
Well, so yeah, we, Market Street next to Domino's Pizza now, and we're in the back 2/3 of the building. It's been a lot nicer space for the team, a lot more room for them to spread out, work on the computers and stuff, newer building. So it's worked really well just for the environment for the people. I originally was going to try to spin up a co-working space just to kind of use the front part of that building, but there was not enough community interest at the time, or not interest, but need, right? So we actually have Angeline Industries.
Yep.
They're occupying the front third of the building to be able to offer their services, for Tiffin here.
Yep.
So,
And they do really good work out there. So,
oh yeah. Bob and his team are pretty good. So it's been nice. It's worked out really good, and I can add to my resume, or whatever you want to call it, the fact that I own property in the city of Tiffin now. So I own a building other than my house in Tiffin, and for a small little farm boy from Attica, that's a pretty big thing for me. So,
yeah. So how did a small little farm boy from Attica get involved with IT and all of this? What was the background story? Tell us about Jake before Buckeye IT.
Yeah, Jake was. I was the quintessential nerd in school, right? Like, I graduated Seneca East in 1995. I had that interest in technology and computers early on. My parents, luckily for me, sacrificed enough to buy computers. So early 90s, Commodore 64. Mom had found a place in Mansfield that sold them, went over, got one. And then I was one of the first people to have like a Pentium chip from the guys that, over in Willard build a computer. And then I got pulled out of classes to go down to the office at the school to help the guidance counselor with his computer, and so it just kind of built. So I just kind of learning stuff from there and doing things, and lucky enough to get my picture in the advertiser because it was the first internet connected computer at Seneca East. So they put that in the library, and guess who got to help hook that up and get that running? So it just kind of built from there. And I always helped mom and dad on the farm. They had 800 acres, and it was my dad and my grandpa that did all that. So I know how to drive a tractor. I've ran to the elevator, dropping grain off. I've done all that kind of stuff. But my interest and love was really in technology. Luckily, my parents supported me and let me keep doing that rather than forcing me to drive a John Deere, and so.
Well, it wouldn't have been red either, right?
No, it wouldn't have been, no. So, I mean, it's worked out pretty good. So, I mean, it's really the support of my parents that kind of let me drive it. And, so it's we kind of joke, my mom and dad have an IT geek, a veterinarian, and a pastor as kids now. None of us turned into farmers, but, we all got different stories to tell. So it's, and just since then, it's just been schooling, different training and stuff like that I've played around with, different things, not been afraid to break stuff. And this is where it's got me. So
that's exciting, though. So that's kind of the quintessential story, though, of a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Getting their start with things and kind of being self-taught. Or, we have so many stories of people, and we'll hear later in a lot of these episodes, people who have started businesses in their basement or their garage and whatever, and now they've grown into 50,000 square feet, 100,000 square feet, whatever it may be, and you're very similar with your story. So what, to you, like, what is entrepreneurship? Like, talk a little bit about what it is for you and what your thoughts are on it.
For me, it's that drive to build something, to create something, to be part of something, right? Different people have a little bit of a different view on it. It is, I guess, calculated risk, because a lot of people have that, that thought or that stereotype that all entrepreneurs are just nuts and we're crazy and we don't care. But there's a lot of calculation that goes into the risks that we take when we go to start a business. Because when I started Buckeye IT, it was new wife, new house, baby probably on the way, and I went ahead and did it. But I only did it because I knew
Yeah.
I had
You
those
didn't just
schools
leap
to
off
bring
the
me in.
bridge. You
Yeah,
calculated some of that
exactly.
risk.
So I was, I was Tom cruising. I knew the boat was coming underneath the bridge. When I jumped, I'd land on the boat and not in the river.
The odds were pretty good you'd hit the boat instead of the river.
Yeah. So, and it's just that, I guess, that desire to build it and to grow and to do something, and that's where I like talking to other people. I'm at that point now where my team runs the business for me. I could walk away if I needed to and let them run the business. But I found a lot of enjoyment talking to other people, other potential new entrepreneurs, to give them little tidbits of advice. A lot of it is, hey, I did this and it was a big mistake. Don't do that when you try it, So it's just that joy in helping them kind of build things and grow for their stuff too.
What advice would you have for other people who are maybe just getting started as an entrepreneur, or even considering opening their own business or starting something?
Biggest advice.
Or a couple.
Talk. Well, yeah. I mean, I think talk to several people. Try to have friends to support you, and know where you can get the help. And don't be afraid to ask for the help. Right? Like, I was very, I guess, sheltered early on. I didn't want to ask for help. Hey, no, I should be able to do this all by myself. I think somebody starting out now should not be afraid to ask for help. Hey, I am good at talking to people and I'm good at sales, but I can't do accounting. Well, find a friend that's a bookkeeper. Don't try to do bookkeeping on your own. There are plenty of places around here that will make it affordable for a new person starting out to do the book work for you, and then you don't have to worry about the tax man knocking on your door because you made a mistake, right? So don't be afraid to pull those people in and talk to those people. Don't be afraid to ask somebody else for advice. Hey, I know you've done this before. Ask for that bit of advice, because the people out there like myself, we don't want to be pushy and tell people how to do everything, but we're not going to mind when somebody comes to us and says, hey, Jake, how did you do this? Or what do you think about me doing that? So getting that outside help and answering those questions would be a big thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very important, because I know that's some of the advice when I've spoken to classrooms lately, especially high school students, that when you're asking for help or saying, hey, I don't know how to do this, or I don't understand this, it's not you admitting that you're weak, or that you're not intelligent enough, or admitting fault or problem. That asking for advice is the sign of somebody who is really aware of their surroundings, whether it is an entrepreneur, a student in school. That don't be afraid to ask for help or ask for advice, because that's what people like you now, who are a veteran in the industry, that's what you're there for. So don't be afraid to ask for that. So
and the other thing too is, don't be afraid if you do make a mistake. But if you make a mistake, make sure you learn from that mistake, right? Because I think all the really successful entrepreneurs that I know have made mistakes, but they've built themselves upon those mistakes, right? Like, okay, hey, I've done that in the past. I'm not going to do it again. And it's experience, right? I mean, that's what it is. But some people are afraid of making mistakes, and they're overanalyzing things and trying to be perfect the first time they do it. Well, sometimes you just have to start throwing the marketing out there and then improve the marketing later on down the road. If you wait 12 months to perfect a marketing plan, you've done nothing for 12 months. Whereas bad marketing is still, or not perfect marketing is still better than no marketing at all.
Correct. So, too often people try to be too perfect with things. I think you're right. You even look at our professional athletes, and Caitlin Clark out at Iowa. Caitlin Clark missed three free throws. Michael Jordan missed free throws. Babe Ruth struck out. You look at this, and you have to have the same mentality as an entrepreneur. You have to know that you may not be successful all the time with every latest and coolest idea, but you can't just give up because you struck out one time or you missed that free throw. And I think that's why you've been so successful. And I've known you for several years now, and I've seen the model continue to grow. And you're also doing smart, sustainable growth versus saying, let's see how much business we can get and let's ramp up to 50 employees right now. And you're growing at a sustainable approach. And I think that it says a lot about what you talked about earlier, calculated risk, and you're being smart about your decisions and investments.
It's working out so far.
We're happy. So what kind of, I know IT is such a broad term.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say your areas of specialties are? If there were businesses in the Tiffin or Seneca County community that said, hey, I kind of need help with my IT, maybe Jake's the right guy for us to call. What? Yeah.
Well, what we do is we've evolved. We're a managed service provider now, right? So what we typically do with somebody is figure out exactly what they need and provide that to them, right? Like most cases are the troubleshooters, the help desk people, the engineers in the back, the planning. We also do that vendor liaison type work, working with them. We do telephony kind of stuff too. So we are not an all-encompassing. A lot of IT places do a little bit more than we do, but we don't do like security cameras, access control,
Sure.
Some of that other stuff like that. But if somebody needs a company or people to come in to say, hey, I need cybersecurity and I need somebody to fix our computer problems when they happen. Oh, hey, and I also need help with compliance management and budgeting. That's what we do. We try to operate as a corporate IT team for those small businesses. And, we're at a point now where we've got the model kind of built where we're the ideal fit for the 10, 100 to 150 user type size businesses. And
you've been great for us here. Our small team of 4 people that, usually all of our problems are almost always self-inflicted. That somebody has pushed something they shouldn't, plugged something in, downloaded something they shouldn't, but every time you've been very helpful to us. So I know there's tons of businesses out here, and you've probably seen this story a lot. Like they are, 10 people, 12 people working in a business, and maybe Jeff or Susan is the person that does the IT, and then all of a sudden that person leaves. So what would your advice be, I guess, to a smaller business that either has no IT or just internally tries to fix their own problems? What's some advice that you can give them about things they need to kind of be aware of or problems that you see most often out there?
I think the biggest thing is, what a lot of them worry about is the cybersecurity, right? So if nothing else, maybe you have that nephew that's really good with IT and that can handle the little bit of day-to-day, but I would say work on training your employees to be aware for cybersecurity, almost to the point of them being paranoid. Like, do I open this email or no? No, well,
we all get those with the attachment on it and not much information, and it looks like it's from the bank or the credit card company.
I think that's the biggest threat that businesses like that face around here is just making sure that their employees and their processes internally are geared towards preventing, that leak of data or that ransomware event or something like that. And then some people, we still run into it every once in a while, where some people kind of treat IT as a cost center, as a have to have it. Oh, well, and they want to try to use a computer for 10 years or 7 years, or they don't want to pay somebody to come in and help them with compliance management and stuff like that. And I get it, small business, it's an expense, but they need to consider, what does that do to their efficiency? What is the risk of, well, if we don't have good cybersecurity and we do have a ransomware event, what's that cost going to be to us? So to kind of really try to view IT as a tool to help them be more efficient and to help them grow their company, rather than just being, hey, I got to have a copier, so I got a copier. No, it's, the right systems, the right processes, and the right support team can actually help them grow and be efficient then. So.
Well, we all need it. I know a couple of weeks ago, my cell phone broke, and I went almost an entire week without a cell phone, and man, did I feel lost. And that's just the way it is. Like everything I had to go to my laptop or my home computer to utilize, and you don't realize. And then, of course, I wasn't good, and you'd tell me as the first thing I should probably have done is I don't back up my contacts and everything often enough, because it takes a little while. The phone runs, it kills your battery, so I don't have it set to back up as much. And then I'm going in and I'm getting texts from people and the numbers aren't saved. And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know who this is, but I don't want to sound like a fool and say, hey, I don't have your number in my phone. And it's really the same thing with our computers. If we're not constantly backing up to the cloud, same problem, right?
Yep. And that's where, like, if you have that proper team, either internally, if you're a big enough company, or even, working with somebody like Buckeye IT, that's one of the first things that we focus on is that backup that you may not know about. It may not be front of mind for you, but that's one of the first things my team worries about is backups. Yeah. So we ensure that the servers are getting backed up, that data is getting put off to the cloud. So if there's a problem, we can get in there and restore the files, restore the server, and get things going for them.
Yeah. So how do you back everything up? Do you have local files? Do you have like agreements with data centers or something? Or how does all that even work?
So we've got partnerships with third parties that kind of maintain data centers, secure them, and then the software. So we're installing agents on the computers, making sure that it's a full backup. We get the reporting, and then with that verification that it backs up. And then we run, test restores every once in a while. If nobody has had to have us restore a file, like, okay, we get back in there and restore a couple files from somebody's backup. Things are good to go, and kind of monitor it that way.
Yeah,
so,
it's important.
We don't have any servers internally at our office that we have to secure and worry about. So there's nothing like, some places have, hey, we back up our client's data to a server that's in our office. We don't do that. I mean, there's nothing locally here for us. It's all in the cloud, which is, there's no cloud. It's always somebody else's computer. I got a t-shirt for that one, but that's kind of takes that off of us as far as we're not having to physically secure it. It's lower liability for us because it's not in our office that we're having to insure it or take care of it.
Yeah, well, and it's important to have all those backup sites because as I learned with the city, it's great thinking, oh, well, we've got our cloud file that we back up to in the basement or in the vault or whatever it may be. The problem is if a tornado hits your only location or you have a fire that takes everything out, you could lose everything you have. So that's why the cloud and the redundancy is so important to have all of those files everywhere.
Yeah. And that's many places, especially the critical ones, like the city, the courthouse, the sheriff's office. It's an appliance that's in there that we have local backup for speed of restore, but then multiple offsite backups, and it's because it's happened in other places before, and we always like to have backups to our backups. Some cases there's 3 copies of backups because of the critical nature of the data and stuff.
Well, it's important. It's one of those things that you never hope to call IT, but man, the moment you have to call IT for support, you need someone there to help you because it's typically a problem right then and there. We can't work in today's world without our IT. Whether you have a work from home job, I mean, I know 80% of the work that I do, it's done right on my laptop or my cell phone. And there's very few things that I write down anymore. It's all there. It's backed up to the cloud. And I know I'm the guy that's usually in there as I'm typing in Word or whatever, constantly Control S, because I want to make sure that it's backed up. Because last thing you want to do is write a 30-minute speech that you find out you didn't back up, the computer shut down or whatever it may be. But it's the times we live in. And there's unfortunately a lot of bad actors out there trying to hack in and steal data and steal people's financial information. And you're our first line of defense with these sorts of things.
That's why I have no hair left. It's kind of stressful. It gets to you after a while, but you figure out those processes and you look at it and you're like, okay, well, no, we've got X, Y, and Z in place. If this happens, we're going to be able to stop it at this point, and it's not going to get any farther.
So what you're saying, it's not like the old days that you run out and buy the $50 antivirus software and you're good to go.
No, and that's like some people still call it antivirus, but anymore it is so much bigger than just antivirus software watching. It's AI powered and driven EDR, endpoint detection and response, and that's monitoring activity, not just known files. And then a lot of it anymore too is backed by those people that are watching those alerts, and as those alerts are coming up, they're verifying and checking, and kind of checks and balances with what AI says versus what the people say and know and experience. So
since you went there and you're a tech guy, I want to know what do you think about the AI boom? You don't have to give us every thought, but it's obviously here to stay, and it's the way of the future. But
it is. So starting off with the bad, the spam emails,
oh my gosh,
and all that stuff. Those guys are so much better at that now because instead of the emails you used to get and be really easy to identify it was fake.
Yeah,
Because
really bad grammar and
that's not an issue for them anymore. They run it through Chat GPT and they got a perfectly good looking email that's very convincing. The AI stuff with voice recognition now too, I could take the first 15 seconds of our conversation, dump it into that, and I would be able to convince anybody else in this office with AI over the phone that it was actually Aaron calling them and make it say whatever I wanted to.
Oh my gosh.
And it will convince people probably 95% of the time that it was really you on there. So,
which is really scary for, anyone in general, but especially they like to prey on older folks.
yes.
And, you get a call that sounds just like your grandson, your granddaughter, whatever it may be, saying, I'm in jail, I need help, I need money, I need this and that.
Yep.
And it may sound 100,000% like them.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the scary and the bad part of it, right? Now, the good part of it is I see it enhancing the way a lot of us do business, right? It's going to make us more efficient. A lot of people are worried about, it's going to get rid of jobs. And it may eliminate certain jobs, but it's also going to enhance or grow other areas. Because you have to have people that know how to implement AI, right? Like they're going to be those people that shift from one department in the company over to the AI department to help them build things up within a larger corporation. But even on the small end, like for smaller businesses, AI is already helping most, but they may not even know it, right? The chat bots and stuff that you go to for your banking website, and there's a lot of it on the back end that we'll never see. I think that it's also going to allow us to help small businesses, even around here, with that type of efficiency management processes and stuff. It's even to the point of you can throw stuff into Chat GPT or Claude by Anthropic. There's a couple of big ones, right? It's not just Chat GPT that we see all the time, but you can throw documents in there and have it give you a rough draft. And I'm sorry to my lawyers to not give them billable time, but then that saves me time. Now I have a draft and I can go to my attorneys and say, hey, fix this up for me to make it look good. I've got something to start with, you know. I mean, so there's a lot of that it's going to be able to help, I think, people.
Yeah. I mean, we even use it here, big presentations or documents we get sent that, maybe they send you the presentation only 2 hours before the webinar or the training session, and you can put it in there and basically have it pull out the important data that you need to really see and, summarize this for me or do that. And it makes you work. It's the whole work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
And of course we go back and eventually you get through the whole document, but it can summarize things so quickly for you. So you at least see the main takeaways, and it's incredibly helpful. Writer's block's another one.
Yeah.
We do a lot of writing, whether they're presentations we're making up, whether they're speeches, whether it's whatever. And to be able to pull that and to say, oh my gosh, I've sat here for 30 minutes. I can't figure out how I want to word this next paragraph or page. You can put your thoughts in there. It will spit something out. That's not exactly what you want it to say, but it gets it re-energizes your brain and gets the juices flowing again. And the next thing you know, you're 3-4 pages later, you're working away. And it's exciting, but it is scary. And I don't think it may eliminate some existing jobs, but long run, it will create more.
Yeah.
Every major technological advancement that we've seen in the world has always created more jobs. People were scared to death with the Industrial Revolution and everything that was coming about, and even these automated robots. But if you look at it, we still don't have enough people to fill the jobs.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, from Tiffin to Fremont, Toledo, Columbus, everyone is trying to hire people right now. So it's an interesting time to be alive. It really is.
It is.
Yeah. Technology is growing at the blink of an eye.
Yeah. It was kind of fun. It's kind of funny because like my parents, and they sometimes would be afraid to do stuff, and I was never afraid to pick it up and play and learn. And now even for me as a techie, as a geeky guy, right? Like there's some of that stuff I'm like, I don't even want to learn how that works. Nope. I'll just skip that, like some of the apps and some of the different stuff that's out there anymore. Now I'm turning into my parents.
Yeah. I feel exactly what you're saying. It's the same thing. You get on and it's something new that comes out, and it's almost so futuristic that you just can't figure it out. You have to go find a 12-year-old to tell you how to use it. It's kind of, it's interesting. We live in a very interesting sped up period of time. You look back at how long it took from basically using swords and arrows in war to now having, stealth bombers and all of the technology we have, how quickly things have grown, and even where are we going to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible where we're at even 10 years from now in the IT technology world, and exciting and scary.
Yes.
Yeah. It
really I just got to figure out where we're going to shift to make sure we stay relevant, because AI is going to affect a lot in that technology.
And that's literally entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
It's a constant shifting of the marketplace. There are very few businesses, people, whatever, that what they started as is what they end as when their career is over, because that's what you have to do. It's a constant pivot, constant shifting. And you've done that very well for the last 20 years. And,
thank you.
Hopefully you're here for at least another 20 or so more, because we need IT services here.
Hopefully, at least part of the team. I'll have the team running stuff and doing stuff.
Sure.
Maybe I'll be doing something else, just to, spinning up some incubator or something like that, talking to some people and doing some more fun stuff. And I don't even do as much as I used to anymore. So there's a major problem that you guys have. I just call my team and say, hey, come fix this for Aaron, because I don't remember how to do that.
I'm sure it's probably more like Aaron broke something again. That's probably how it goes. That's almost always what it is. But So any of the kids interested in the IT business, or are they off in different fields?
No. My girls are going to be different fields. I've one that right now is looking at being a OT or speech pathologist, and working with special needs kids and autism and stuff. And then my little one right now she's dead set on being a cardiologist.
Wow. So health career backgrounds.
And I need to find another job to be able to pay for her education.
Yeah, good luck with that,
you guys need some help, I might be coming back to you to pick up a second job.
Oh my gosh, but good for them. Health industry continues to grow, especially as the baby boomer population gets older. And it's just, people live longer. Baby boomers are aging. There are plenty of health jobs, as there are with really anything right now, but lots of jobs in the health field for the future.
Definitely.
So, we're excited. Anything else that you want to share with us today, Jake?
I just want people in this area to know, like, Tiffin and Seneca County. Yes, I'm biased because I was born and raised here, but being in technology, I always initially thought I was going to have to go to the big city to have a successful company and to be something. And I found over the last 20 years that I'm perfectly happy right here in Tiffin. I've done what I needed to do to make myself feel good, and I think I'm part of the community more so than I would be had I gone to a big city to chase a little bit extra money per year, right? Like, I can run into the city administrator grocery shopping, the former mayor when I'm out at the fair or something like that, and know those people face to face by first name. To me, that's worth something, and I'm kind of glad things have worked out well for me, and that I've stayed here to do stuff. And so I think anybody else that's thinking about starting a business, look to stay here, look for the friends and resources you have around here to get it taken care of. You don't always have to move somewhere big to be successful.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I've lived in Seneca County my entire life, love it here. We have a great community, and it's really the people that make this place special. But you may chase another $20,000 a year of income, but the problem is you're going to pay that more when it comes to your rent, your mortgage, your car, and we've got a great place here in Seneca County. And I think people are slowly realizing it. It's part of the reason we have a housing issue right now is people have moved back. People are coming back to Seneca County, and now we have a situation where there aren't any houses on the market because it's such a popular place. And I think your words ring true to a lot of people. And sometimes you have to leave to realize that. I know a lot of folks who have left, and 10 years, 15 years later, once they start a family, they're like, I want to get back there. It's so safe. It's so friendly. The people are great. There's all these events going on. And we've got a darn good place here in Tiffin and Seneca County. We really do.
We definitely do.
Thanks for stopping by, Jake.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you being our guinea pig.
We'll see how it goes. Hopefully none of the equipment gets broke.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.